5. And now, Pastor Comparet.
This is Bertrand Comparet, and I want to talk to you about Israel's fingerprints. The Bible is written about and addressed to God's people Israel. It is the history of their past, the prophecy of their future, the law of their relation to their God, and the promise of God's eternal care for them. The common misconception that the Jews are Israel, or all that remains of them, has made the Bible meaningless and most of it apparently false to those who hold this mistaken belief. It is just as though you took a good history of the United States, but wherever the name United States appeared therein, you erased it and wrote China in its place. As a history of China, it would be obviously false, but if you applied it to the right nation, it would be clearly true. The Bible's history of Israel's past is known to be accurate, and its prophecies of Israel's future have been fulfilled in every detail down to the present day. When the police have the fingerprints of a wanted man, they know that the man whose fingerprints match those they have is the man they seek. Likewise, when we find the people to whom God has fulfilled all of his promises and prophecies to Israel, we have found Israel. Today, the Anglo-Saxon, Scandinavian, and Germanic nations have Israel's fingerprints in every detail. When we realize that we are Israel, the Bible becomes full of meaning for us. It is our history. It contains God's promises to us. It gives us courage to face the terrible upheaval into which all the world is being drawn. If you will only read the Bible with an open mind, taking no man's word for it, but proving for yourself what the Bible says, then comparing that with what you know of present-day history, you will see that we are God's people Israel, and that, however terrible the trial ahead, we will be brought safely through it when we turn to God. First, let us briefly review the ancient history of Israel. God first made his promises of wonderful blessings to Abram, changing his name to Abraham, meaning father of nations. Note that this is in the plural, nations. God repeated his promises to Abraham's son, Isaac, and again to Isaac's son, Jacob, whose name God changed to Israel, which means he will rule with God. Israel had 12 sons. The descendants of each son became in time a tribe under its ancestor's name. Thus all the descendants of Dan became the tribe of Dan. All the descendants of Benjamin became the tribe of Benjamin, and so forth. For many centuries, all members of all the 12 tribes collectively were known as the children, that is, descendants of Israel. However, do not confuse this with the later house or kingdom of Israel, about which I will have more to say later. Israel and his 12 sons with their families went into Egypt, as you will remember. And after about 2.5 centuries, their descendants left Egypt in the Exodus under the leadership of Moses. For several generations, they were ruled by judges appointed by God. Later, they unwisely copied the customs of the surrounding nations and demanded a king. So Saul became their first king, ruling the 12 tribes as a single nation. This unified nation of 12 tribes, like the United States of 50 states, continued until the death of Solomon in 975 BC, when it broke into two nations, Israel and Judah. 1 Kings, chapters 11 and 12, tell us how Solomon finally fell into idolatry, misgoverned the people, and burdened them with excessive taxes. Yes, they babbled about new deals and new horizons in those days, too. When his son Rehoboam succeeded Solomon as king in 975 BC, the weary people petitioned him to ease their burdens. But being vain and arrogant, and surrounded by a lot of bright young Jewish advisors, even as today, he threatened to make their load heavier. The exasperated people of the 10 northern tribes revolted and set up their own independent kingdom under Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, which is told in detail in 1 Kings chapters 11 and 12 and 2 Chronicles chapters 10 and 11. Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, had left in his kingdom only the 2 southern tribes, Judah and Benjamin, with most of the Levites, who were the priests. And this southern kingdom was never thereafter known as Israel, but only as the house or kingdom of Judah. The northern 10-tribed kingdom was thereafter called the house or kingdom of Israel. Just as the southern kingdom, Judah, took its name from the tribe of Judah, which was the ruling tribe, so also the northern kingdom of Israel was sometimes called Ephraim in the prophecies, because the tribe of Ephraim was the most powerful tribe in it. The histories and destinies of the two kingdoms were thereafter separate. They engaged separately in foreign wars and treaties, and were sometimes at war with each other, as the books of Kings and Chronicles record. From the time of this separation, 975 B.C., the Bible very carefully distinguishes between the southern 2-tribe nation of Judah and the northern 10-tribe nation of Israel. This distinction is kept clear both in the historical record of what is past and the prophetic record of what is to come. It would take me all day to cover them all, but for a few examples, see the following. The distinction is made, historically, in 2 Samuel 19, verses 40 to 43, 1 Kings 14, verses 19 to 21, chapter 15, verses 1 to 33, chapter 16, verse 8, 2 Kings, chapter 3, verses 1 to 9, 2 Chronicles, chapter 16, verse 1, chapter 5, verses 5 to 10, and many others. The distinction is kept clear in prophecies in Isaiah 7, verses 1 to 17, chapter 11, verses 12 and 13, Jeremiah 3, verses 6 to 18, chapter 5, verse 11, chapter 11, verses 10 to 17, chapter 13, verse 11, chapter 18, verses 1 to 6, chapter 19, verses 1 to 13, Ezekiel 37, verses 16 to 22, Daniel 9, verse 7, Hosea 1, verse 11, and chapter 4, verse 15, and chapter 5, verses 9 to 15, Amos 1, 1, Micah 1, 5, Zechariah 8, 13, and chapter 10, verses 6 to 8, and many others. Just as we must carefully distinguish between the two nations of Israel and Judah, so also we must carefully distinguish between the nation of Judah and the Jews, as we will discuss at length on the other soundtrack of this tape. Later, both nations were carried into captivity, but separately, at different times, by different conquerors, and taken to different places. Israel was conquered by Assyria between 740 and 720 B.C., and by 715 B.C. all of its people had been deported and resettled in what we now know as Armenia, northwestern Iran, and the region near Baku, around the southern end of the Caspian Sea. The Assyrians brought in other people and settled them in Samaria, the southern half of Israel's old Palestinian land, to which the people of Israel never returned. See 2 Kings chapter 17. From this time onward, the historical parts of the Authorized or King James Version of the Bible do not record the further history of Israel, but in the Apocrypha, 2 Ezra 13, verses 39 to 46, records their further journey to Ar-Sereth, the valley of the river Sereth, a northern tributary of the Danube River in modern Romania, which still bears the name Sereth. At the conclusion of this deportation of Israel from its Palestinian home, the Assyrian king Sennacherib also invaded the southern kingdom of Judah and captured all the smaller cities in it, everything except Jerusalem. The people of these smaller cities were deported, along with the people of the northern kingdom of Israel. Sennacherib's own record of this invasion says that he deported 200,150 people from the southern kingdom of Judah. 2 Kings 18, verse 13, and Isaiah 36, verse 1, mention his capture of these cities. Thus, the Assyrian deportation of Israel included the entire population